Hello again, everyone. This is American Idioms Part 81. This is the 81st video in my American Idioms series, and like the others, I'll present 5 idioms to you numbered 401 to 405. But first, I'll give you a chance to guess their meanings. Then, I'll give you the answers along with an additional example for each new idiom. I also recommend that you pause the video at each question to give yourself some extra time to think of the answers. So, are you ready? Okay, let's go! Number 401. Take something to heart. And the example is, all of the manager's advice was taken to heart by the employees, and it really helped them meet most of their deadlines for the month. Can you guess the meaning? And the answer here is B, to pay a lot of attention to something and are greatly influenced or upset by it. And that's what it means if you take something to heart, like our example where the employees took the manager's advice to heart. They paid attention to it. They were influenced by it, okay? And they were influenced by it so much, well, that they met most of their deadlines for the month. Here's another example. The students took their teacher's warning about tardiness to heart, and since then, none of them have been late for class. In this case, the students took their teacher's warning about being late to heart, right? They took it seriously. And then, in this case, the students took their teacher's warning to heart so much that they were not late. They weren't tardy anymore. Got it? And now for number 402. To be a slave to something. And the example is, my girlfriend is a slave to fashion, and she is always buying new clothing. Can you guess the meaning? And the answer here is C, to be completely controlled by something. That's what it means if you are a slave to something. Like in our example, the person's girlfriend is a slave to fashion. She's completely controlled by fashion in a sense where she has to keep buying new clothes. All right? She has to stay in fashion, right? So she's a slave to it. She's controlled by it. Like our next example. Tim smokes 2 packs of cigarettes a day. He's definitely a slave to smoking. Okay, in this case, smoking is controlling Tim, right? He's a slave to it. He's acting like a slave because he has to smoke. Got it? That's how this is used. All right, and now for number 403. Something to go on. And the example is, the footprints in the snow gave the detective something to go on in his investigation of the robbery. Can you guess the meaning? And the answer here is B. Something that can be used as evidence for something. And like our example, the footprints that this detective found in the snow was something that he could go on or to begin his investigation. All right? This is the evidence that he could use, right, to figure out what happened in this robbery when he was trying to investigate things that happened. Okay, so if something can be used as evidence, like something to, like in this case, the footprints, it can be used, we say, something to go on, to begin going into your, let's say, your investigation or your discovery or your search for something. Okay, that's how it's used. Like our next example. His lawyer is confident that he won't be charged with a crime because the police have nothing to go on in the case. All right, in this case, it's just the opposite. They have nothing to go on. They have no evidence to start their investigation, or in this case, to arrest this person or charge this person with a crime because they have no evidence to go on, right? They have nothing instead of something. Got it? All right, and now for number 404, to be partial to something. And the example is, my wife wants to paint our house mint green, but I'm partial to forest green. I hope we can agree to something soon. Can you guess the meaning? And the answer here is A, to be very fond of something or someone. That's what it means if you're partial to something. Like in our example, this person's wife was fond of mint green, but he was fond of, or he liked, or his preference was forest green. Okay? So if you're partial to something, that's what you're fond of, or let's say your preference for something. You're partial to it. Like our next example. I think I'll be treated fairly by this judge because he is not partial to any side in this type of lawsuit. Okay, so we have a lawsuit here, and we have a judge who is not partial to either side, right? There's usually two sides to an argument or a lawsuit. And it seems by the context of this example that this judge has had a similar case like this before, and he didn't choose a side. He went by the evidence. And this is why this person thinks that they're going to be treated fairly by the judge. Got it? And now for our final idiom, number 405. To get the better of someone or something. And the example is, my cat's curiosity got the better of her, so she jumped into the bathtub with me. Can you guess the meaning? And the answer here is B, to get control or to achieve a victory over someone or something. That's if something gets the better of you, it gets control of you. Now, in our example, the cat's curiosity got control of the cat, right? She was like, oh, why is that guy in that bathtub, right? She was very curious, so she jumped in. Her curiosity got the better of her because usually cats don't like the water, as we know, okay? So if something gets the better of you, it controls you. Or, like our next example, it achieves victory over you. I thought we would beat the other team very easily, but they got the better of us right from the beginning of the football game and they beat us. Okay, in this case, the opposing team got the better of this person's team, right? They got the better of them in the beginning of the game. And the opposing team got the victory. This is how this is used. Got it? That's all for this video. Thanks again for subscribing, and please like and share the video to support the channel, and don't let idioms get the better of you. Keep practicing! See you next time.